I think it's time for a clean-up around here. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that the farm is basically our base of operations here in the Woodland. But because of that, we've let it get a little messy. The polytunnel is becoming less and less like a greenhouse and more like a shed. And because our priorities have been so scattered all over the place, we've missed yet another growing season in which we could have established the plants and trees that would grow food for years to come. So today I'm going to focus on tidying this space up so that we can focus on building the infrastructure for next year's planting season. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to tell you guys a little bit more about our story and our future goals for the land. So you could say that I'm recalling the past while tending to the present to prepare for the future. This is episode 15 of the Wellstead. Cool. Right. Don't worry though, if you're watching this isn't just going to be me tidying up. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to tell you guys more about our story, because I don't like to give away too much on the YouTube shorts, which have a higher audience. Because I figure if you're watching this kind of video at this point in the channel where we're still growing, then you're probably quite interested in who we are. So I'll use this as an opportunity while I'm just tidying up this mess in here to tell you guys a bit more of our story and, as I said, who we are and what we're doing. So you guys will obviously know me. My name's Brandon. I host pretty much all the videos so far on the channel. The Woodland isn't actually mine personally. It actually belongs to my mother and my auntie, who inherited it from my grandfather, who passed away in December of 2022. He bought the land back when my mother and my aunt were young, so probably about 40 years it was his. We've had it for coming up to 3 years now. Now, my grandfather was a very pragmatic person. Coming from a generation who just got on with it, he was always outdoors doing things. And having grown up in the countryside, he enjoyed exploring and getting his hands dirty. So when a 9-acre patch of woodland came up for sale in the early 80s, he was the type of man who wouldn't let that opportunity pass him up. So my granddad used this land for logging and firewood, essentially. This woodland quickly became his pride and joy, and he spent almost all his time down here. He knew the land better than anyone, probably just as much as the local wildlife that inhabit the woodland. For decades he worked here, taught himself new skills, and shared that time with his brothers and family. But meanwhile, like I said, he was also using the land for logging and firewood, which he would sell. He had his own little firewood business, so that's what the farm is. It's in a clearing that used to be filled with Douglas firs. There's stumps all around. Since there's been no sign of regeneration, then when we inherited the land, we figured, well, let's take advantage of this clearing, keep it a clearing, but turn it into a permaculture food forest, which we are working on, to provide food for us, but also to hopefully increase a bit of that biodiversity and help the surrounding area regenerate a bit more. Now, it was always my granddad's lifelong dream to one day build a house here in the woods and live a simple life, but circumstances always prevented him from fulfilling that dream. Nevertheless, he made the most of his time here, and he made a living from harvesting timber and even grew some food here once upon a time, as well as keeping chickens for a short time before they were all killed by foxes. But as he got older, the work became harder and harder for him to handle on his own, and many areas of the woodland fell into neglect. It was just a case of him getting older and not really having enough time and energy to keep on top of it anymore. So when he passed away and we inherited the land, then we were a little bit shocked at how messy it had really got. But also, one of the other main priorities is the actual ecological restoration of the woodland, which is something that I sort of pitched as a main priority to the rest of my family. And with the help of our representative at the Woodland Trust, they really helped us figure out our priorities, that the first and foremost, most important thing we should be doing is restoring the land ecologically, not only for the environment, but because it makes our job a little bit easier, I guess. We have better access, and we also avoid certain legal repercussions that we might face if the land were left in the state it's currently in. So it is a long job. But that's essentially where we're at so far. This toolbox is a mess. And this is only one area. The rest of this is just terrible. Ah! I remember coming here a few times as a young child and watching my grandfather work the land. I remember one time we came up here for a picnic, and when we arrived we clambered our way through the bracken and brambles to a clearing. There we stopped as we watched my grandfather fell a humongous Douglas fir. It was the first and only time that I have ever seen such a large tree fall, and I can still recall the sound of the tree crashing to the ground and echoing throughout the forest. Fucking hell. Fucking mice in this shed. That makes sense. Hello. I hope I didn't crush it. Woo! Sorry, they were quite big, and I just lifted that up and it just came running towards my feet. So sorry about that overreaction there. So this is where our toolbox has been sitting, and that's where all the mice have been gnawing away at the cardboard that we've laid down. This cardboard is only a temporary solution just to suppress like the ferns and whatnot coming through. But look at the work they've been getting up to under there, digging holes and everything. Right, sorry about that. I got jump scared by a couple of mice running around. I will keep an eye out for them. I'm not going to hurt them, don't worry. But I would rather get them away from our food and our tools and our equipment and whatnot. But if I see them, I will try to capture them and let them out somewhere else, or just try to shoot them out of the greenhouse. But for now, they're under the workbench somewhere back there. So for now, I'm going to keep working, get this place tidy, and then we'll move to outside and use the strimmer just to clean the farm with it. Now, I spent the majority of my adolescent years living in another country and returned here to England for college when I was 16. Coming back, I could only vaguely remember my grandfather's woods, but it looked nothing like I pictured when I first came back here. Coming back to England gave me the opportunity to reconnect with my grandfather. However, it wasn't long before we found out that his time here was limited. I remember in those final years that my grandfather would often ask for my help at the woods and offer to teach me the skills and knowledge that he had acquired throughout the years. However, I was busy hanging out with friends or going to university, and while I always intended to join him more often and learn more about the woods, it quickly became too late and my grandfather passed away before I took him up on his offers. So when we first inherited the land, it felt like a huge, daunting challenge. Having dropped out of university for my own personal reasons, I quickly began imagining all the possibilities that the land could hold. And as my knowledge of ecology and the natural world grew, I really began to appreciate the amazing privilege that we had inherited. Okay, so I'm just about finishing up in here. There's still a few things to put away, but I've cleaned and organised the workbench so it's looking good as new-ish, kind of. And then I've just been filling up that rubbish bag there with all the rubbish that's accumulated. What tends to happen is, as I'm working around different areas of my woodland, I will come across either litter that has been dropped from people trespassing onto the land, or just bits and bobs here and there, I don't really know. So what I tend to do is bring them back to the greenhouse. You just sort of put it there and I'll sort it out later, and it just builds up and builds up and builds up. So I am getting on top of that. I would like to sort of move the compost, I think, because it's starting to press against the lining of the polytunnel, and I'm just thinking those mice that were in there earlier, I wonder if they're attracted to the food here, because they did sort of run out just under there, so they could possibly be maybe eating away at the compost. Plus in the summer it was getting quite smelly in that compost bin, so I'm thinking of perhaps moving it over here possibly, but then we've got the Douglas fir there, and then if I have time, it's 4 o'clock, I'm going to start to get on top of the outside, because you can see it's quite overgrown. Got to cut the grass basically, Summer's over now, it's all going to be dying back, regardless of whether I leave it or cut it. I also removed, it's not a great angle here with the sunlight, but I also removed those tall tomato vines, and I've kept this one because this one's quite fruitful. In fact, there's a tomato there that's split open, unfortunately, otherwise I would eat that right now. There's quite a few nice juicy looking red ones. There's a green one there that will ripen, but I'm not going to have that. What's that one? Oh look, there we go, we've got one decent looking tomato. The petrol stream is quite noisy. I don't think you guys want to listen to that for 5 minutes, so I'm going to take this opportunity to continue telling you guys about where we're hoping to take this channel and the land. So of course the first thing we wanted to do when we inherited the land from my granddad was explore, and so there's a video up on the channel where I sort of go over the map that we've made of the woods, but we're finding new things every day, whether they're small things or big things. 9 acres isn't huge, but it's enough that you can definitely get a little bit lost and find lots of secrets around. And then once we made our way into this clearing, we thought, well, this would be perfect to start growing some food in. So we cleared it. That took about 4 months because of how densely the bracken and brambles had overtaken the area. And then we erected the polytunnel about a year ago now. I think it was, what's the date today? 25th of October. It was about a year ago. And so our goal with this area, and this is one of our first projects that we're working on, is just to grow some food. That's all it's really about. And beyond the farm, I've hinted before about many other opportunities and ideas that we have for the land. Not all of them are guaranteed to work, but we've got a long list of, you know, as long as you have the idea and the land, then you have potential to do something. It has to be environmentally conscious, since the first step is to restore the woodland, and obviously we don't want to then start damaging it further by building some kind of unsustainable business in there. We've got the 12 by 17 metre clearing, which is the farm. We've got this large area in between that we are going to be replanting with trees, as you will know. And then we have this area, and this is quite a big clearing too. I'm not sure on the dimensions, but it's a very large area. So my vision for hopefully what this could be one day would be a sustainable ecotourism business. Of course, these sorts of things, when I say it, you may have your own opinions about it, and have your own concerns. Trust me when I say that, you know, we are, if this were to happen, it would be as ecologically conscious and sustainable as possible. It's not a case of opening this up as a nature reserve to the public. That's not it at all. It is a private business where people can come for like a 5-day retreat during the summer period, and then possibly maybe like weekend camping or something. But that's just one business opportunity. Of course, none of this is going to dominate over the actual restoration of the woodland itself. That is, as I've said from the very beginning, and I want to be completely honest and open with you guys, that is the number one priority, is restoring the woodland to a healthy ecological state. But of course, as I said, as long as you have land, you have potential to make something of it, and if you can do that in the most ethical and sustainable way possible, then go for it. And if you can make a real difference to the world, just by creating something like that, a wellness retreat is a spiritual retreat really. So if you can do that sort of thing, then by all means, you've got to try. So that's what we're doing here. slowly finding our footing in this new world while also exploring all the possibilities of what this place might hold. For now, our priorities are focused on the ecological restoration of the land as well as growing food. But one day down the line, we envision that this woodland can become something truly special. I don't want to give away too many of our ideas, but we have a long list of dreams that we are slowly working towards. Of course, the first step is to bring the woods back to a better state before intertwining our own goals in a way that disrupt the land as little as possible. But in the future, we imagine this woodland becoming a sanctuary for people and nature alike. Whether that be in the form of an ecotourism business like a nature retreat, a landscape to host nature walks and ecology classes, and so many other amazing opportunities that we can pursue. We have a long road ahead of us, but we know that with enough time and hard effort, and with this amazing community by our side along the journey, that we can truly demonstrate not only the possibilities of nature restoration on a small scale, yet with such far-reaching benefits for the environment and biodiversity, but also become a shining example of how human ambition and nature can coexist harmoniously without one having to dominate the other. There we go, just about finishing up now. So it's a little bit clearer. It will get to a workable state again, and I need to finish that and several other projects around. Also, I want to find more of these tiles around the woodland so we can extend the floor all the way there so there's not that slippy bit of mud in the middle. But for now, at least I've cleared it up a little bit. I know I can ramble on a lot in these videos, and as I said in my channel update a few weeks ago, I do want to find a more focused style for the videos, and I think I've got that down. So keep an eye out on the channel soon for more videos that are gonna definitely have a bit more of a point to them. It basically comes down to, we're not a business, we're not a corporation. We are private landowners who inherited this land. We want to do something for ourselves, and we also really want to do something for other people as well. And so that's what you will eventually see come to life here at the Wellstead. What a privilege and a great opportunity it is to be able to share that journey with all of you guys that tune into our videos. So if you like our videos, hit like, subscribe if you haven't already, share it around with other people, and I will see you all in the next video, which will be coming out hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Yet again, thanks for tuning into this short little video, just a little bit of an errands day, I guess, and also a wonderful opportunity to share a little bit more with you guys that really care about the channel. So the sun's just starting to set. It's 5:20, so I'll leave this video there, guys. Yet again, thank you for watching, and keep an eye out on the channel for future content, because I think the more we do these kinds of videos, the clearer our vision is for what we want to share with you guys. So I guess that's that. Thank you guys, I'll see you in the next video.